It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Tonight, let us make them remember we are not afraid!
Yeah, no fear, no fear. Here I declare your independence with me, Ernest Hancock, from the sun desert out west of Phoenix. Oh, we're out here waiting. What are we waiting on? We're waiting on Zano. Zano's going to hip us, because this is what we're doing. We are demonstrating and proving that you can have an autonomous life in a community bound by communication and commerce. But we don't need the man. I don't need clipboards. I don't need permission slips. I don't need a crown telling me what I can and can't do. You know, we're going all pirate, man. Woo! Well, we're going to be talking today. We've been working on this for a while, trying to get our schedules taken care of because he's in Dubai. So I don't know what time it is, but it's, later than it is here. So Andrey Sabelnikov, I think I said that right, co-founder and core developer for Zano. Now, we're going to have Quentin Van Welzen on, but he his girlfriend had an appendicitis come in. It's a thing, it's just so we want to, give positive waves to them and hope they're going to do well. But it's really Andrey. I've talked to Quentin before, but it's really Andrey Sabelnikov that I wanted to talk to. Now, Andrey graduated from St. Petersburg State University of Aerospace Instrumentation as a systems programming engineer. Now, what he learned from there, he spent 8 years in antivirus development. It culminated in a high-profile lawsuit with Microsoft. That'll keep you busy. There was a post-settlement. Then he became the lead developer for CryptoNote. Now, CryptoNote was technology in the crypto space that eventually was integrated into Monero. Now, we know Monero crypto as, I remember when it first came out, we were at an Acapulco thing and speaking there, and it was a thing, and they had a lot of presentations going on, and the main thing is that you could transact privately without the government up your butt. I'm so done with clipboards and permission slips. I just, no. And I need technology that allows us to be able to do commerce and communicate with our community members and so on, and live, raise our children, sell our goods, buy the things that we need. And I don't need a permission slip. You're not allowed to do that. Oh, it's kind of your money. You just can't have it now. Well, this stuff is just so fundamentally a tyrannical system that we need to get out of. Now, I warned Andrey that we're going to, drill down on him as we do guests, why. So we're going to do that first. Then we're going to get into the technology and what it does. The reason it's so important to me to get to know these people is because, is it the bus factor? They get run over by a bus. Does the whole thing stop? What kind of team is doing it? What's the drive? What kind of incentives? We've seen this happen before, too. They do a fun around the fundraising. They get $1 gazillion, and woohoo! They're snorting coke off stripper bellies and watching the waves and sand lap over their toes on a Caribbean beach smoking ganja all the time, and it's done. It stops. What's their motivation? We're going to get to know Andrey a little bit. We're going to talk about the future. We're going to talk about the goals. We're going to talk about the tech. But first, we're going to talk about Andrey. Andrey, welcome to the program, man. We're going to get into it. We're going to get understanding of each other. So, for the audience, fill in the blanks here. I'll just ask some quick questions so we get going. One, how old are you?
45.
25. That's
45.
young.
45.
45.
Yeah.
45. Now you look good. You could be 25 if you know. I mean, you're looking kind of young. 45.
Yes.
Damn, you're an old man for a freaking crypto programmer.
Absolutely, yes. I am old man.
Okay, so this is your 45. What was the years that you were at university in St. Petersburg?
I started in 2000 and graduated in 2003, but it's because I started from the third grade because I came from the college that I was studying before in other region of Russia. And then after 2003, I went to PhD study, but I never finished PhD. So I spent some time in university, but I graduated in 2003.
Okay, so 2003, at what point did you realize you had skills in IT and computers and programming? Was this at a young age? Did you get selected? Did you learn it later? You had an interest? When did that happen?
I'm still not sure if I have the skills because I constantly see the people who do it better than I do. I started to like computers like when I was a really kid. When my older sister, she went to the college for doing computer, and that was just the beginning. It was 90s. Computer was like big and slow with this huge black and green displays, but I like it for some reason, and I was like charmed of this, and I just naturally loved it and always wanted to do this. At some point, I went to the same college that my sister went, but to the other profession, as there was a networks like for just they was teaching how to deal with networks. And after this, I went to the university in St. Petersburg, which was a big city. I was born in a small city, like really small. And there I learned how to code. And I think after the second year of my study, I went to the full-time job. So I was visiting university only for exams and like most important part, but mostly I was having full-time job as a software developer. And this was the best way actually to learn profession. So I was working during the university times.
Okay, now this is interesting. Think about this question. Your aptitude in doing information technology and working on this, was it hard work? Was it learned? Was it a good professor, a good program you learned by doing, working while you were going to school? Or was it an aptitude that you naturally had? Because you know what I mean. You work with a lot of people, man. They don't just think that way, So was this hard work for you, or did it come naturally?
I think it's multiple factors. A lot of things contributed to this because I see very talented people in the area often who doesn't work enough to develop actual skills or to achieve something. I often see the people who not that gifted but so hard workers. And I think I have a boost. I have a little bit of abilities. Like I wouldn't call myself a gifted person, definitely. And yes, hard work is also a big part for anyone who is successful in our profession. It's always comes with a big effort, even if you're a very talented person.
Okay,
so
now let's.
I think it's also I was lucky to. Had good professors on my way to this. In the college, I had pretty interesting people. In university, I had interesting people. I also had during my career, different people who influenced my views from professional perspective. So it's a lot of things contributed to.
Okay, there's two things that in there that I want to dwell on a little bit, and everybody will see why here in a second. When you say it's a lot of hard work, hard work. Well, I wasn't gifted. It didn't just roll out of my fingertips. There was some hard work involved. Being in your mid-40s and having big projects like this, you're probably in an influential position. You're a co-founder. You're probably managing teams and so on. Where'd those skills come from? A team managing, project manager kind of stuff. Was that university? Was that experience? Was nobody else is doing? I guess I got to do it. Learn how. Watch some YouTubes. I mean, what is it? The skills came to where you're managing a project.
Actually, I'm terrible at this. I think at managing people, and I'm lucky to have Pavel because he's helping to have it all together. Sometimes I'm impatient with people. Sometimes I'm not impatient. Yeah, it's correct word. And we're trying our best. And we have. We like it with our team, but who we have. And when you were mentioning about the buzz factor, actually, I am the least important person on our team because the project can survive without me, actually. But without Pavel or without Val, a cryptographer guy or someone else, it's going to be hard. So I think we just have a good team. So it's not high maintenance. We're just working together. And also, we don't have a much bossing in our project. We mostly work together. And most of my work is actually coding. I'm still doing most of the time I'm doing coding, and we have a status calls, and we tell each other what we did today and what we're planning to do tomorrow. And that's most of actual managing, because we build together stuff. And at least on the development side, which I'm running, is not much managing. Actually, we're more focused on solving challenges, technical challenges. I don't think we are managing actually something here.
Who came up with the like the PowerPoint deck, the graphics, the mission, we're working on this and this and this and this, and let's throw in that. And I mean, there's a lot of aspects of Zano, and it seems like Zano was to address everything. Who's the motivation behind that? Who comes up with, we got to integrate this into it. And we got to do that. Somebody's got to call Edge, and who does the strategy?
So it's not that simple. It doesn't look like, it's probably also a problem, but for the many technological projects, some decision comes from engineers because they think something is cool, and which is not good as a from product perspective, from user perspective. Some decision comes from a visionary side, I would call it this way. So I myself represent engineering side of the project. So I put directions when it comes to consensus, when it comes to technology direction, when it comes to privacy technology. And it's a big part for the project like this. Another big part of the project is visionary, what we're doing in terms of user, in terms of youth, in terms of future. And that comes from Pavel. He was the person who influenced and pushed the decision to build tokenization platform. So we don't build just a payment where you can pay with Zano for coffee, which was a narrative like past 10 years, especially for conservative, old school audience. And he was the pushing this and explained it to me. And we had hours and hours and hours of conversations about this. And he was explaining that we want to build a platform for the builders who will building stable coins, will build the tokens, whatever they want on Zano. And we give them technology. That's what we can build the best. We can build and deliver technology, but people on top of this, they can build whatever they want and use this to empower their ideas with our technology. And
okay, now
I
the
think,
base. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, I think this decision, which came actually from, this visionary that came from Pavel, was very important for Zana at the page where we are now. At the moment where now we are, what we are is actually was very influenced by him, and it's really great that we have it now.
Well, a lot of these, because it is a widespread, big bite you guys took out of the economy. But I'm going, okay, to do this model, you need, like what Pavel's talking about, to build it on a foundation base that's strong, secure, You need to have the foundation of which to build these other opportunities, or to have a foundation that is open to other developers to build what they want. Now, we've worked with Jason over at Cordal. Cordal's like a, kind of a promise of a lot of this kind of stuff from a, different perspective. And I remember Made Safe. We were, heavy into that and promoting that. And we were. But it is always coming down to a grandma just button. All you guys go to me and they go, oh, you got to do, this crypto. You got to do this Linux thing. You got to do. And I'm going, yeah. Is there a grandma just button?
What is it? I don't know this term, grandma.
I
just
know.
button.
I'm going to explain it to you. Yeah, you guys always say, well, you just this, you just that. It's really easy. You just push this button. You just load this thing. You just go to GitHub and get this code. You just do, and I'm going, come show me this just button you guys keep talking about. It's easy, the easy button. So they come over and they start banging on the keyboard and they do. I go, that looked like about 50, 60 just buttons to me. And I don't know how to, I need to wear a grandma. I'm thinking my wife, a grandma. I can load the application on her phone and it just works. I need a grandma just button. So when I talk to you guys, I'm just going, look, man, and I tell you who it was. It was Paul Play. When all of these wallets and stuff were coming out, they were complicated. They were just a pain in the ass. Now,
Absolutely.
Like you, Paul Play was a little bit older. He was in his late 30s at the time. And he had left. He got carpal tunnel from coding or whatever, and he opened restaurants and whatever the hell he was doing. He came back, and he knew that he'd go around talking, and some of my friends and people, my audience that heard me screaming about this stuff, they said, I know who sounds like you is Paul Play from Airbits at the time. And he goes, you need to talk to Paul. So he and I met in California at an event and spent a couple of days hanging out, and he understood Grandma Just Button, a graphic user interface that was easy, intuitive, that it just freaking worked. It didn't take me having to, hire Pavel or, Andrey to come do it for me. Well, a lot of the guys in the crypto space were going, oh, you need to hire me as your consultant to consult you consulting. And I'm like, shut up. Just so many people like that. And then you had guys like Vitalik Buterin that wasn't really clear on explaining it. He wasn't the guy to have, he was a nice guy, great, and met and had him on show, whatever. But, from a technical aspect, which he, excelled at, to explain it, Grandma Just Button, why would you want a Grandma Just Button? It was just, I've gone through the whole gambit here. So that's why I'm can understand if you have a base technology that you're building all this other stuff on so that another developer can make the Grandma Just Button using your technology. So I need you to explain to me and the audience, and enough, I'm going to ask questions so that I can explain it in the future, what the core technology is that Zano's being built on. What is it that you guys are doing? What's special? What's different?
I don't know how to explain it without diving into technical side.
You do what you need to do to explain it, and I'll ask more questions. Go ahead.
So you want to know what is how technology itself works, like
No,
from
I
math
don't need to know
perspective?
how the electrons move around and the
Yeah. So
keystrokes
what
of the
is
code of whatever.
sorry, what is
It's
the question
the
then?
goal,
The
the
goal.
actual result. It does this, so we're going to build on that because it's capable of doing this thing. Well, how does it do that? I don't care. You know, I mean, it does
Yeah,
it. You know,
result. That's the point. We don't care about what people will be building on this. Okay, I'm gonna explain you this. So, ironically, we are not very good in dealing with the marketing, with people, with explaining a lot of stuff. And if you can look into the Monero, they turn the project not just a product that delivers some privacy feature. They turn it into the movement, and they attracted a lot of people. But they spend a lot of time in discussions. They have a lot of holy wars in the Twitter and everywhere. We don't have these skills. We don't have this patience. We don't have this ability to do this. And for that reason, we can do what we can do is we can build technology and deliver technology. So we think that we probably can build great technology and great product and attract other people from industry to build on top of Zana whatever they want, just to make Zana usable. And we doesn't even know what it's going to be. It's from current perspective, it's going to be stable coins or NFT tokens or some DeFi things or decentralized exchange things, whatever, with the privacy in the box. But how it's going to be in 5 years, I cannot tell you. I know it's probably wrong from marketing perspective saying this, but we have so many variables in the formula, so we cannot like project what it's going to be in 5 or 7 years. You see?
But what is it that they're building on? The technology is unique because of what? You know, it's like Ethereum. You know, as I remember.
This I can tell you. So, first of all, if you look into the privacy coins, you will not find a proof of stake. I mean, now it's getting there, but proof of stake is very tricky for privacy. Like it's super tricky, and we solved it.
It's super what?
It's super what? It's super tricky. It's super hard to. It's super challenging to create a privacy protocol on top of proof of stake. Mm-hmm. And we were hybrid consensus since the beginning. And in 2024, we switched to the proof of stake on top of hidden amounts, which was like considered impossible before. This was a big step for us. And this is one of the most important parts, how we are different from any other projects. The second part is confidential assets. We were the pioneers in this part. We were the first project who delivered completely private assets, confidential assets in the main network. So I think that's essential that describe our technology. And we are moving actually forward. We're working right now we are hybrid proof of work and the proof of stake consensus, but we are working on a pure proof of stake consensus, which gives you way more security in terms of consensus, in terms of confirmation time, in terms of how much time or how much money needed to perform double spend attack. And for a lot of people who are not like very technical or who not doing deep research, consensus doesn't play a big role. The patata, why would I care? But proof of work privacy coins are all in danger, maybe except for Bitcoin, because it has a monopoly on the hash rate and it's way bigger than anything else. But all other projects are at very risk. And even Monero itself, which is a great project, had learned the lesson recently, a few months ago, when someone demonstrated them that it's pretty much possible to perform 51% attack against proof of work consensus. Mm-hmm. And from that perspective, Zana is like one step ahead of majority of the projects.
Okay, let me go ahead and. No, I want you to hold where you're at, because we need to continue what you're saying. It's just a lot of, when you're talking proof of work, proof of stake, and all those people, a lot of the audience don't know what the hell you're talking about, okay? So I'm going to try and explain this real quick, and from, Grandma Just Button guy. And you correct me where I'm wrong, okay? Now here we go. Proof of work is, without getting too much into details, just, there's a number. It's a finite number. There's a number. But it's like more than how many atoms in the universe kind of number. I mean, it's a really big, giant number. If you have monkeys throwing darts in a block, you're, solving a block. Well, monkeys are throwing darts, you're rolling dice, flipping coins, whatever. I mean, it's a randomization of, guessing what number it's going to be, or be below you have that big, giant, oh my God number. You have a point in space, that's the middle. If you have that as your target point, every random guess that is below that number solves the block. Every random guess to the right of it doesn't solve it. The difficulty, depending on, the settings this is how it works. Every 2 weeks, the Bitcoin difficulty is changed. How, maybe of all this random numbers in the universe, atoms in the universe, you have the only guess that'll work is the slice of a piece of paper way down at the end. It's gotten so difficult. You got to have a random proof of work. It's just computers just guessing. That's all they do. ASIC, they're just boom, they're just guessing. Well, you have different variables, and that's a long story, but it hits that below that certain number. There may be have a gazillion, all the atoms in the universe. There may be only 100,000, just as an example, of numbers that would work. When the difficulty, and you have so much hash rate, all these banks, countries, everybody is, sucking up all the energy on the planet to have these computers guess because they want to win the reward and all the money for the transactions, all that kind of stuff. Then they are just randomization. They're just monkeys throwing darts, okay? It's just, and then it'll hit, and boom, we win. They get the reward, and then it starts another 10 minutes. On average, how do they keep it in 10 minutes is that difficulty. With how much processing is going in to guess the number, do you have how much is available, how difficult it is, where you're moving that sliding scale on how many numbers are able to be a solution. Well, every 2 weeks they change that. If you have a whole bunch of people guessing, it becomes more difficult. Well, when you have a bunch of people guessing, it may not be 10 minutes. It may solve it on an average over 2 weeks of 8 minutes. So they make it more difficult. Well, if it's 12, 15 minutes, well, they make it less difficult and they reset it every 2 weeks. So basically, that's how proof of work works. Proof of stake, and this confirms, in the security for the blockchain. What Andrey is talking about is that when you have a 51%, over half of the miners come in, they can just take over the blockchain, or they can approve changes in the blockchain. They want something different. Like they wanted the memory pool size, the more transactions could be done. That was a big thing. No, they wanted it be, not as many transactions so that the exchanges can be like banks. They just make more money. It wasn't about that. Satoshi, when he did this, allowed for more transaction, the memory pool that can be processed. But when you do that, you have to raise the block size from 1 megabyte to whatever it is. I mean, it's a megabyte, really. So after 15 years, computers have gotten faster, but they didn't want to change it. So this was Bitcoin Cash. They forked off, we're going to raise it to keep the transactions cheap. Well, when we have Vitalik Buterin from Ethereum wanted to make some changes on Bitcoin. They wouldn't do it because they had a different goal of we're going to get rich with the government, kind of whatever. But so he does different stuff. Now you got ERC tokens all over the place. Everybody's making their own based on Ethereum, which is what Zano's going to be doing is you can create your own ecosystem using their core technology to do will it be better. Proof of stake is you could either have a bunch of people that use the crypto to put it in some place that can confirm the transactions, and we have Andrey explain that to us, or you do proof of work, and it's just a bunch of electrons and how much electricity you can use. So proof of stake is different. How? So I just want people to have a kind of a base understanding. All this electricity that's needed is just, computer monkeys guessing. And then they move that which part of the atoms in the universe is a correct solution and which isn't. And the smaller that target is, the more processing power that you need to do it. It's kind of self-regulating, but it uses up a shit ton of electricity. So now we got proof of stake, and the benefits of proof of stake and how you confirm blocks and so on is what explain that to us.
So first of all, there is a bunch of approach to build a proof of stake. Proof of stake is a general term, unlike proof of work is very specific definition of consensus that was brought by Nakamoto. It's sometimes called Nakamoto consensus, and it's very specific. That's what you described it just a minute ago. Proof of stake.
Well, how far off was I? Was I semi-grandma explain?
No, it's accurate. It's totally accurate. I will use this analogy even just to explain proof of stake. So with the monkey thing. So the proof of stake is a set of algorithms, and there is something that used in Ethereum, which is a family of PBFT algorithms, which also very effective and have a certain properties that gives you finality really quick. But this algorithm has some issues with centralization, so it's a little bit centralized. Still very good algorithm for non-privacy projects. What we use, it's different algorithm, and it's I doesn't even know it have an official name, but it's use statistical approach with UTXO. And with proof of stake that we use, it's basically the monkey with the darts, same, trying to hit the target. But the chances, first of all, monkey can throw the darts only if monkey has at least some amount of coins. Someone else without coins not allowed to throw the darts. Also, the more coins you have, the more money you have, the more chances that you hit the target, statistically more chances. So you basically use coins to have the chances to create the block. But it works very similar way. We use also this kind of dice that used in a proof of work. So statistically, even if you have only one coin from all the supply, you still have a chances one of certain millions.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Yes, you always have chance, and that's why it contributes to decentralization. So even if someone managed to gain a big amount of supply, it's still hard to censorship the all transactions, because even people with 1% of supply can generate the blocks. There's other tricks that you can overcome the chain of blocks, but it's another question. It's a long conversation about consensus. We're not going there, but it works.
Okay, now let's go ahead and I want to get more.
Only monkey with the coins have thrown the darts, and the chances that you hit the target are more money you have, more coins you have.
Okay, so this is let's go explain this to the audience. The concern is that China had all the miners. They made the miners, a bunch of them had them. I don't know if the government liked it or not, and they're taking an extension cord and plugging it into the, Yangtze River hydroelectric dam of whatever the hell, okay? Then you go to Iceland and you're doing geothermal, you're doing solar, it's all about electrons. I mean, it's how much you can do this. Now, the guessing, you could come in like now, we have the federal government coming in, we need nuclear power plants. We need we're going to make you pay for them, by the way, and then they belong to Amazon or something. It's some weird crap that they're doing. But they, we need a whole bunch more fusion reactors, fission reactors. So we're going to, big, beautiful coal and oil, and we're just going to make all kinds of power. All right, here it comes. For what? Well, what if governments or government selected UN people have the ability to do the processing? Instead of the Federal Reserve running the money, the Federal Reserve is doing all the Bitcoin mining. I mean, it's that kind of thing. So that you have, with just money, you can buy more processing. You get a whole bunch of monkeys throwing darts, okay? So I got the most monkeys ever. Stable coin, stake coin, proof of stake is not you're buying a miner, you're buying the crypto. By having that crypto, you get a dart. If you got a whole bunch of darts by buying it, then that's how it works. I didn't know how proof of stake works. So you're saying, explain it in more detail so that I can explain it to others, is that by having a proof of stake, you have bought your itty bitty teeny little, dart throwing monkey miner person that can guess it. So is there a time frame? Does it make it faster? Does it make it easier? Is it 10-minute blocks? You can do it in 5 seconds. Tell me what the difference in the price, because all it is removing it from somebody that's got a bunch of money and a bunch of miners and an atomic reactor that's doing it, moves it over to somebody that bought a bunch of Zano. I mean, how far off am I?
Technology.
Pardon?
I mean, how exactly it's even more tricky, because actually you want to have more chances to create the block. You want to have more chances to hit the target with a dart, but no one should know how much money you have. So all these amounts are hidden. It's all this amount, but it's working this way. We made this working this way. All these amounts are hidden behind the specific amount commitments, which is a point on the elliptic curve. And with the bulletproofs, we basically prove that this equation. So Wal was the guy who created this, who come up with this idea. You create the equation and prove this, and the equation is fit. And if this equation is fit, then you have a chance to build the block. But still, nobody know how much actual coins in your output, in your extruder, just had the chance to what. It's kind of magic. It's even hard to not even.
So that was the goal. Is not
for me as well.
Not the mechanism by which you got monkeys throwing darts. Is that the dart throwers? They don't know how much crypto you have and how many monkeys you got throwing darts. That's what they're building on Zano. Is that what you're saying?
Kind of don't see. Yeah, the third party, they cannot see the monkey who throw the darts. You just see the dart coming from nowhere, and it's hit or not hit. So that's the point. So we actually protecting our stakers from being exposed. It's still, privacy is very tricky. There is always some extra information that you can collect from IP addresses, from how often the blocks come. So you still can extract some information by doing very complicated analysis. But as a technology, we are trying to protect the stakers, give them the privacy, and still give them the voice in our project. Because in a proof of work project, whoever is having the coins, they don't have any voice over the project. Proof of work miners are in charge. They can influence some decisions, which we know from the history of certain blockchain projects. And the coin holders are no one. But in the proof of stake, we give the voice to the coin holders, actually. And I think this is the better system compared to proof of work, when you just basically depends from the factories on some other continent, control it by of course, the factories are on the land, and the electricity and the land is controlled by government. So it's create certain point of influence from the big players as a government. So yeah, it's from this perspective, proof of stake is way better system.
Okay. Now thank you for that explanation. I think I got an understanding. To get it, the word picture better at go to the biggest beach that you ever seen. Now imagine all the grains of sand. Now imagine all the grains of sand on the planet. Now imagine all the grains of sand in the freaking universe. Now imagine all the atoms in every grain of sand in the universe. I mean, we're talking an enormous number here. So what happens is, let's say you got the Goodyear blimp, sitting above the beach, and they're just dropping darts and see if they can hit the grain or grains. There'd be, a small percentage, but several grains of sand you hit, you win. Then imagine it's from orbit. And you got monkeys on a space station, and you don't know which one of the gazillion they're just dropping down and they hit. That's more proof of stake. They're up there, further away, and because they got the crypto, they get throw monkey darts, and you don't know who they're from, as opposed to the Goodyear blimp sitting right there, and it says USG on it, So I get an understanding. So you want to have proof of stake because it can more readily hide who's doing it and how much they have, and makes everybody that wishes to stake their coins be part of it. So it democratizes it and, goes horizontal.
Actually, not 100% like this. Actually, my motivation was first to give the security to consensus, because proof of work projects can be easily attacked, and my first project was proof of work back in 10 years ago, and I did the calculations and see how much money actually need to invest to get attacked. So my first intention was to secure consensus, because if the network cannot transact, it's shitty project. It's not great technology. So my first concern is to secure consensus, to make network transact and to have transactions secure, so nobody can rewrite the history. And because of this, because of proof of stake gives you the better guarantees, then we started to work as we are a privacy project. We have to preserve the privacy. And the first version of Zano consensus was not private in terms of amount. We had amounts opened until 2022, I think, or 2023. And only in 2023 we came up to technology where we can build proof of stake consensus on top of hidden amounts and give the better privacy to our coin holders and stakers. So it comes from this direction. We first wanted to have a better security guarantees for consensus, so nobody can, or if someone will try to attack the consensus to rewrite the history of transactions, it will cost a lot of money, way more than proof of work, like 100 times more than the attacking proof of work system. And then as a second goal, we wanted to have a privacy as a personal privacy, because people who expose their money are basically not safe. That's what we believe in.
Okay, good point. When I was at the New York Bitcoin conference, there was a lot of vendors there promoting panic rooms, security for people. What happens when they kidnap your 4-year-old child and say, your crypto or your kid kind of thing.
Yes.
And
yes.
So this is because a lot of the guys, were very proud. Oh, look how much money I made. Woohoo! And I got this much. Well, I wish I didn't tell anybody, because now you got cousin Fred's, ex-roommate coming over want to explain it to you and how your crypto became his. So security is a big thing. The reason I wanted to spend time on this is because a lot of these other things that I'm showing here on the screen, these different projects, things at Zano, once you have this type of security and anonymity, then building everything on that becomes much more secure, safer, more anonymity. That's what we were promised in the beginning. Like Andrey Antonopoulos would come on, and he'd go, oh, yeah, it's anonymous in the early days, 9, 10, around in there. It's anonymous, it's this, it's that. So it's that. Then I started having guys come on, like this one guy, Dark Day Services. He would track down Bitcoin transactions to the device. And he goes, and he was a Liberty community guy, and he goes, look, all this you're being told is BS. I track it for governments and corporations and whatever. We know. I can track it down to your device. It's pseudo-anonymous. So I had to look up the word pseudo. It means not. And I'm like, what the hell is that? They just get the anonymous word in there. So it was very important to understand that anonymity, for these very reasons we've been talking about, is important. Zano believes that they have that covered. Some of the core technology that went into Monero is, from in these guys' heads as they develop Zano. They're doing, for a reason, proof of work and proof of stake. There is reasons for both of them, and proof of stake allows you for the guessing without them knowing who has how much of what. Okay. Now we understand that. But I wanted to get back to my original line. Thank you for that. But why? Why do you care? Why did you go down this tack? Why is privacy a thing? Why? What happened in your early life to put this as an important thing? What happened? What breach of security? What uncle? What somebody convinced you going down this line was more important than making money or adoption or government approval or, copyright from the king or something like that? Why?
Unfortunately, I don't have a really cool answer to this.
Yeah, because you've probably never been asked before.
Industry.
So go ahead and let's talk about it a little bit.
I was honestly, there is a two type of people existed. The people who was saying what to do and they do it, and the people who have a visionary and a passion for something. And I'm not the second type, unfortunately. I think originally I was brought to the crypto industry as just a developer to work on the original crypto node. I was just basically doing what I was told to do without clear understanding the ideas and the philosophy behind this all. And I was actually excited about how challenging it is. This project was the most technologically loaded from everything that I did before. And there was a lot of science in this. There was a lot of challenges. There was a lot of technology involved. So I got excited from this part as a typical engineer, honestly. And the more I worked on this, the more, especially when I separated myself from the Bitcoin, from this original team and started to work on my own, I found people who was interested in this, and I started to read about this. I opened for myself the community of open source development, community of people who are basically believed in something related to crypto. And only from this, I started to learn something. And actually, we were told mostly by people who was interested in this technology what they think, why this is important. So that's how we got kind of educated what we're doing, that this actually means a lot for people who has these certain views. So it's kind of came from this point. So I started from the technology side, and then I see the people, the views, and realize the importance of this.
No, that explains a lot. That tells me something, and I want to share something with you in the audience. What we did during this time, it was a lot of stuff was going on. We created this one page. It was called pirateswithoutborders.com. And the reason is we wanted to promote decentralization. We're going, look, I don't think people understand, why this is an important thing. So what we did is we have these letters of Captain Mark, and it's a book you can get on Amazon, whatever, it doesn't matter. But the point is that in there, we described why it was important to have privacy, security, anonymity, all these things. And when we would go to these Bitcoin conferences, we would take a bunch of these books. You'd see over in the corner, there would be some, group of 8 kids on their $5,000 laptops sitting there cross-legged on the floor, pounding out the future of the universe. And you could see these venture capitalist guys, they'd have their $2,000, $3,000 suit, and they're walking over there, but they got their tie off because they're cool, you know. And they go over and they, hey, what's up? You want a BMW? You want a white picket fence? You want hookers on call? I mean, you know, you want green fees, you want to be part of, and your mom is always making fun of you being in the basement coding, and now you can be somebody. And they go, oh, hell yeah, I'm Andrey, man, I know how to do it. I'll go kick ass. Let's go kick ass. Pay me to kick ass. But the coders didn't have the vision. They didn't understand what they were doing and why. They just could. So you had these other guys coming in and scalping. I saw all of these hacker competitions that they had at Texas Bitcoin conferences. We would interview the winners, the top 3. We would, you know, motivate them and all that kind of stuff. And I would see this, but there would be venture capitalists there ready to sign them up and invest them. Woo! We're going to give you a bunch of the crypto that we're going to have you create for us, and we do a pump and dump of the whatever the hell. I saw it happen all the time. That was you. You were one of the guys that they were going after to do it for them. And during that time, you learned the motivation, what they were trying to build, what they wanted to do. And there's good guys and there's bad guys. Hopefully some of the good guys influenced you. Those influences on you doing the code to create what they wanted, what did they want? And who were they? Why was it they were, you know, looking for guys just like you to build the future of what? And then you start to gain your own vision, you know, your own motivation. You get older, you get more experience, you start to see what's going on in the space. So what was that drew you the most to the traits of Zano? Why did you shift from I just want to be a programmer and do cool science to we can actually build something? What happened?
Well, actually, one of the things that created sense of importance was the war that was started, and a lot of sanctions that was applied to people who was not related to this. And I'm telling from my perspective as a Russian citizen, and a lot of my friends, we were traveling. We were not even living in Russia when this all started, but these sanctions hit us as a lot of other people who was abroad or inside Russia, doesn't matter. And this felt not fair. And I saw how many people started to use crypto just to solve the problems that they had. And this all started to make way more sense than before, because in 2014, 2015, 16, crypto was a very technical, like a very small thing between people who focused or overly excited about very technical things. It wasn't about money back in this time. It started in 2017, I think, with the first significant bull run. And then it was mostly about money, like you said. There was a lot of people who raised money, delivered nothing, but got a lot of funding just for writing the white paper, 3-pager or something like this. But then after 2022, it started to make more sense from very practical perspective, and you can see how important it is to have a financial freedom and independence. And what Zano is doing is trying to empower this freedom and independence. That's what I think is very important.
There you go. See, that's the answer to my question. That's what I'm, been building up to. There has to be a motivation. There has to be a why. And the reason is, being Russian, having Russian friends, seeing all the sanctions, what's going on, the capability of bypassing all this control, and, the king's men with their clipboards and their guns and swords and whatever, that crypto has the ability to do this. And this was what we were promoting with the letters of Captain Mark and Reprisal. The Pirates Without Borders, the letters. It was all about, look, kid, we give them to all these coders and say, this is why. You need to understand what you're up against. The crown, the government, the they, them, those that think they own you, that you're property. Quit supplying them. You know, the liberty community needs your skills. As time goes on, and you get in your mid-40s now, you start to see real-life application of technology towards privacy, liberty, freedom, unrestricted markets. You go, whoa, I'm becoming a something. A free market, anarcho-capitalist, libertarian, voluntarist, leave me alone is something. You're starting to see the application of that. That's the answer to my why. Why? If I know that you have experienced this from geography, where you're from, who you hang out with, what you know, and all of a sudden you see the motivation into the future for developing Zano into providing these other products or a base for all of these other products, that you understand how important it is and the reason for it. Freedom's the answer. What's the question? That's the why. You see my point?
Yep.
So this is why I wanted to have this conversation with you and understand your why. So now we got a why. Then we already did a lot of the what, to where you have a secure base from which to build a lot of stuff on. How many of these projects that are around Zano are internal? How many are outside using it? How are the outside developers getting the kernel, the base, the code for them? Where is that available for them to work on? And what are some of the better projects that we got to look at and look for?
Honestly, I doesn't know all the projects. I doesn't know majority of the projects. They exist somehow and connected to Zana through the Quinton, through the Pavel, or to someone else, or not connected at all to Zana. We consult and help Bridgeless, which is not our project. It's a project that is helping Zana to bridge assets from the EVM networks and from Bitcoin and from Solana and other blockchains. But that's the only project that I work close. But what about other projects that doesn't even know who is running them? Honestly, we are so loaded with the core development, so we're trying to separate ourselves from all of this stuff.
So you're given an assignment, yeah, we need this to do that, and you go, okay, I do that.
Sometimes we have this request, but we also work with a Cake wallet who is integrated us some time ago, and they sometimes ask to implement this or implement this, and we delivering this if we can. But the project that just use us as a platform, I'm not connected with them because they don't request anything like same. Some people ask for a really weird thing, but we cannot do it. But,
well, that was Paul Plays.
We are court.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, with Paul, we worked with Paul together and was communicated with him about integrating in the Edge wallet as well. And
he was very happy with your guys' capabilities. He's going, yeah, they know what they're doing. They made it easier for us to, incorporate it into the wallet contract. So they knew what they were doing. They had a good mission. I liked working with them. Done. That was basically it. You made it easy for them. So you guys, props to you guys for being able to do that. Anybody wanting to integrate with you guys, you had that capability. Now, I got up on the screen here this tap to pay thing. One of the things that a lot of the guys are excited about for Zano is the ability to anonymize other cryptos. Going through Zano, you make it to where you get all of the features of Zano, but you have the other cryptos that you can use privately. Explain that.
That's basically the whole idea of confidential assets. So the idea is that everyone can deploy a set on Zana network, on layer 1 network, and any transaction that involves this asset became as private as Zana. So not even you cannot say how much money or from who this money comes or to whom this money comes. but you cannot even say what type of tokens are transferred. So it's all a dive into this set of anonymity between all the tokens. The thing that needed for this is the bridge, the properly implemented bridge that can actually put real coins from the other network. For example, if it's Bitcoin, put it into Bitcoin and have it wrapped in Zano. So it's going to be wrapped Bitcoin. I think it's already live from Bridgeless. We already have a 1.4 BTC wrapped in Zano, which is quite exciting news for us. So yeah, that's what we're trying to do. Is we're basically trying to normalize private transactions for any crypto that exist in the industry.
You know, we just had a story on Freedom's Phoenix that they froze like 23 million stable coins on Bitcoin or something in exchange. They're going, nope, you can't do it, you know, and I'm going, whoa, they had to reverberate through the industry. Well, this is with Zano, you're saying that you could take Bitcoin, Ethereum, Doge, whatever, you know, put it through that system and do exchanges. And not only do you get an exchange, they don't even know who it was or even what kind of crypto was used. Is that what you're saying?
Exchanges, it's not an exchange, but we have the technology that's called ionic swaps, where you can swap one token to another token, and it gives you pretty high privacy even for this actual atomic operations, and you can do it in a very secure way, so nobody can take your money and run away with them. So you basically technology gives you this atomic feeling of this swap. It's not exchange itself. You don't have a graph, you don't have the order books or something like this. We try to create similar experience, but it's not exactly exchange. It's just a service that allows you to provide some sort of liquidity between the tokens. Yes, and you can when the transaction of exchange happens, it happens in a certain level of privacy, not as private as a regular transaction when it just goes, and it has some little bit of meta information about this was actual exchange transaction, but it gives you like way more privacy when compared to any other liquidity pools or decentralized exchanges. Yes.
So when I hear them say atomic swaps, this is what they're talking about. They always say atomic swap. What the hell is that? Is that what they're talking about? This?
Yeah, it's quite confusing. I know it's quite confusing. So atomic swap is a technology that was introduced like years ago, even in the Bitcoin times, and it's actually very specific technology that explain how two networks can be involved in the secure exchanges of funds. But this it's called hash time locked contracts, this technology, and it's actually involved 4 different transactions, and it's not very atomic from that perspective. So, but as the word atomic was already used and we didn't want to confusion, we called it ionic swaps. But in our blockchain, the ionic swaps are actually atomic because the whole operation comes with one transaction. It goes or not goes. So it's very atomic. The whole operation goes in one specific transaction instead of 4.
So, now that you have
it's
that
quite confusing, but it's say it.
Okay, no, now that you have that tech to be able to do this, use any crypto, make it private, do whatever, all of a sudden then we get to Zano Bay. Now Zano Bay is describe that. It's just what a Shopify platform or something. What is it?
I don't know. It's probably doing or
man, that's not my wheelhouse. I'm the
I
tech
really
guy.
don't know what it is. There is a lot of side projects that I'm not involved in. I mean, we have a team who is doing this to try in attempt to build something. They try to use API, and they probably sometimes can come to us and with a feedback, hey guys, this shit doesn't work. You have to rebuild this, or this is pretty much exciting. So that's what happened. We tried many things. We had a escrow based contract, something that no one ever used. We created atomic swap that is atomic, that's with hash-time locked contracts. No one ever used it before. But then we created ionic swaps, which actually take it, especially last year, it took a lot of traction and people started to use it. And this was actually very useful. So we make a lot of attempts to try to build something, but we never know what people will actually use, what is going to work, or what is not going to work.
Well, you got people with a gazillion. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, that's why when you asked me how you see the future, the goal of Zano, I kind of confused. I don't know what to answer because we try different things and see what people will actually use, what not. And sometimes it's even frustrating. We deliver something and no one is actual interested in this. So we will try. We will speak with more people like Roger, like other people that they don't want to be public. Probably, I don't know. We have our supporters or whoever comes to our booth on the conference, and we speak with the people and see what they expect, what they want, where the aspiration comes. So we probably gonna be doing something.
You're talking to me. I get to say. I get to say. This is what I want. This is why I want to talk to you. Okay. The whole purpose for crypto from the beginning, the promise that they were making to, the liberty-minded people, the American people, people, they go, look, we can see how much control and how much debt they're able to create for you and your great-grandkids that can never pay it off because you're just a debt slave by them being able to control money. It's money. It's value transacted back and forth. It's the dollar's digital anyway. Okay. What the fear is that it was going to be programmable. They're going to say you have to buy this with that. You got to use it by this time. You can't buy that, and gosh darn, it's going to cost you this much to use it over here. All of these controls, every vector is like Patrick Byrne puts, he goes, it's a pig's breakfast. It's just how much bleed on the system there can be, and they create one more layer of regulation as somebody gets paid and gets a new job of just sitting there sucking off the system. When you don't have any of that, all of a sudden, when you have a good core technology to build upon to be private and anonymous, like what you're doing, and you just stay focused and keep doing your thing. I'm not chastising you for making it work. You go make it work, okay? Well, what happens is then you have other people with visions, with desires, with needs, with market demands that can build on that. My advocacy is this. We need private communication. So we do the mesh network. We got some satellite things coming up. We're out in the middle of the desert on Starlink, however private that is. But, they take the technology and capability for Zano to have its own freaking satellites. That's come. Data centers are going into space now. They're solar powered, power. We got a square kilometer of solar panels powering our data center in orbit. That's what power we got. So that's coming, okay? Here we go. And it's going to be crypto mining. It's going to be whatever is going to go off planet sooner or later, or moon or something. So I'm going, okay, I see that coming. This is why they want to be on the poles in the moon so that they can put up a panel and it always be in the sunlight. So this is coming. To what end? What I want is I want to be able to put up on a marketplace and say, I make, I'm willing to serve in exchange for crypto, other stuff that you have. We could do barter, trade, and it be done privately in a community. But then that community can connect, like our mesh network here covers like 400 square miles. Then I could just put that box, put an Ethernet Cat 6 over to my Starlink, boom, now community to community. But what? You have to have loaded into it things that people have in their scrapyard on their back of their farm or producing how many cucumbers of whatever the hell they're doing. Or I will go dig your septic tank with my backhoe in exchange for chickens. I mean, whatever it is, you need that marketplace. You need that listing. You need that Craigslist. You need that Facebook Marketplace. You need that, but to have to where the transactions are not seen, can't be taxed, can't be prevented. You need a Ross Ulbricht Silk Road is what you need that doesn't get hacked, attacked, and they don't even know who anybody is. That's what I'm looking for. That is what I need. That is what would free the planet, and all the sanction crap that you went through and motivated you, what happened to Russia, would go the F away. This is pirate, okay? We are just not subservient to the wills and the drain and the bleed of a crown and their privateers, who they select to get to make the money. It's like, we're going to get drone delivery? Absolutely. Amazon's going to get, tapped, and they can do drone delivery, and you get the certification of nobody else gets to. Competition is a sin, I can see it coming. And we need to have the things like the Zano project that has the core base to allow that to happen and be built on. Because all I'm getting now that kind of, compares to that is like Ethereum tokens. Everybody's got their own token of a token of a token. All they did is just spin up another Ethereum without any real innovation. And I don't care. Next, you got Trump and them doing USD1, which is a stable coin to, that's on the dollar or treasuries. I mean, what the hell is the difference? When the dollar goes to shit, so's their stable coin. So that's one thing that Zano was really, a lot of people were excited about, was your stable coin. But it was stable coin to what? Ounces of gold, silver? No, the dollar. Why? I don't know, because the market demand or something. What do you know about the stable coin sphere and how Zano's participating in that?
Which stablecoin?
The FSD, FUSD, or the
Freedom Dollar.
I'm sorry?
Freedom Dollar, right? FUSD.
Right.
Freedom Dollar.
Right.
Well, I know it's a first project that was this take seriously a series of efforts to build stable coin that will be actually usable on top of Zana, and we have a lot of appreciation for this efforts. We're just doing ourselves to help this to be successful, but I don't know what else to say about this. Any specific questions? I'll be
well. Okay, no.
answer.
Technically, you made it work. Okay, fine. People get excited about it. You're like, why are you excited about it? I don't care. I mean, whatever. I made it work. Get off my case. I did my part. I served it. I had results. Here, go make it go work. What's your personal opinion about making a stable coin linked to the U.S. dollar? I mean, China's going to come out and say, our yuan is convertible to gold, pinky swear. Oh, yeah, with a warehouse in Shanghai, screw you. No, we're putting warehouses around the world, and you can just go in and get your gold. Okay, not that I, trust them for any amount of time, but, this is how the dollar goes away.
I personally think that I don't care what actual currency it will be linked to. I think dollar is as people traditionally, most famous currency in the world. So for most of the people, it's easier to understand the price and stuff. But basically, idea of stable coins is not necessarily related to particular or some government or some corrupted system that you don't like. It's, for me, idea of stable coins is more idea of the currencies that connected to the values of the real world. So to the price of the cup of coffee or the burger or something else. And dollar is in my eyes, it plays this role. It's just a anchor to real world values. I understand that the dollar probably not a perfect candidate for this because of it depends from the actions of the American government or whatever happens, or maybe it's going to be another war and dollar will be more expensive or less expensive. I'm not married to the dollar idea. For me, the stable coin is idea of the token that is linked to the real value of the real world, because the one of the biggest, from my perspective, the stable coins are the most valuable assets in the crypto, because nobody gonna pay with the bitcoins. Not only because transactions are slow, not only because it's expensive, not only because of other properties, but because Bitcoin is getting more and more expensive. More it's involved in the economy, more it's going to be more expensive. And for that reason, people don't want to sell Bitcoin. They never want to pay with it for the coffee or whatever. They want to hold it. So what people do, they just borrow stable coins against the Bitcoin and pay with them. Because you can pay with the stable coins, you don't quit. You use your valuable part which will be more and more expensive for the future. You keep it as a collateral forever. So if it's not stable coin, it's never going to make to the regular payments. It should be stable coin in terms of monetary system, because if you use just a Bitcoin or just Monero or just a Bitcoin Cash or something, it's never going to make it to the financial transactions as it should be. It's always be something that hold back, because the people will always think, oh, this is going to be more expensive tomorrow or in 1 year or a few years. So it's going to be more accumulated on a cold wallet, less involved in the economy. It's going to be overly inflated. But the price will be overly inflated. So it's going to be a really unstable system, which won't make sense. You always need a second part which will be connected to the price of the real world goods, like cup of coffee or something equal to this.
When they make the offer, they're going to make a crypto based on warehoused gold or silver. So I've seen these efforts before. I go, yeah, pinky swear. Where's that? Show me, And that's where it always breaks down. And when Bitcoin first started, and people, on the show, we, talk about it and everything, and they were like, what's its intrinsic value? And I go, I'll tell you what its intrinsic value is. It's how much gold and silver you're willing to give up for its features. What does it allow? How fast is it? How cheap is it? The sanction thing like you were talking about. I could see privacy in exchange of value, that's a big thing. And the speed of it and how easy it was. I mean, I got a bunch of $100,000 hoodies in my closet. I mean, I was, spending Bitcoin because we knew, and this is Roger Ver and I and some of the others, we knew you had to create it in commerce. So I was buying services. I mean, I was getting a deal. Now, of course, they're getting a better deal because they're getting the Bitcoin. But, it was to build up. So that's why when Zano came up, Roger and Aaron and these guys, made sure I was able to, get access to Zano, to have that, to start the same thing, that we're starting to spend it into the community. We're getting them to see how easy it is and the uses of it and the different things. Now with a stable coin linked to whatever, the dollar, don't matter, how easy is that? Do I go on my Zano wallet and I go, I want to buy this thing, and it automatically goes to a stable coin? Do I got to have a bunch of freedom dollars in there already? How fast is that transaction for me to use my Zano in a stable coin purchase?
I actually 100% agree with you. So when you buy Zana, or if you talk about value of Zana, it actually represents technology only, and the job of Zano network is actually to transact. That's the only job the network does. The main job is just to be environment for the transactions. And as we want to other people to build the stable coins or whatever they want to build, they can build transparent system. They can build something from business perspective, something that will be backed by gold or backed by dollars or backed by something else that people will trust. But then to transact it, that's the job of Zana, to make secure transaction. And with each transaction, you pay a little tip in Zana, which is burned. So this creates that's how we see the value of Zana. So it's basically, it do its job, and the people who are involved in this job, who are actually running validators and stakers that make network transact safely, they are getting rewarded with this, with the staking. I think it's very fair model and pretty fair because you do your job, and for this you're getting some reward. From this perspective, I think it's a fair approach, because you see what happened in crypto in space after the first fork of Bitcoin came up, the Litecoin. So the idea of crypto was to solve the banking problem or the government problem because they're minting a lot of money, and every time they print a lot of money, they basically put the hands in our pocket and dilute this the coins that we have. And originally, crypto was trying to solve this problem, but what happened is even worse, because then a lot of projects pop up, and every project mint a lot of money with itself, and then they promise, "Oh, we are the money of the future. We will be the next money." How are you different from the Bitcoin or from Monero or from something else? It's hard to explain, but it's kind of unfair that you create your own kind of bubbles. So it became even worse, and we came to this understanding after we were looking in the industry for the last 8 years, and we saw that, okay, but the great job is done by Ethereum. They actually created a really helpful, really big ecosystem, and a lot of actually userful tools are running on the Ethereum, on VM networks. And then other projects started to just basically replicate what Ethereum is, but they created a real value for the crypto. And I personally believe that Ethereum team contributed in the whole blockchain industry more than anyone else. They write a great paper on consensus. They did a great research in we and Zano, when we were working on consensus, we were following the research that was done by Ethereum Lab, and we were really excited about how they approach this research. Pretty good contribution, and they actually made crypto useful. And by seeing this, we want to do something for the privacy industry as well. We want to make this as a tool, as a platform, so everybody can profit from this and build on top of this. And the job of Zana is just providing the technology, and we are getting paid for the fees. But we are not pretending that we are the money of the future. We are the platform of the future. And the money should be invented by someone else, maybe by a lot of people, by applying different views, because money is a whole different philosophical thing. And it's probably a lot of time will be ahead to find the right approach, what should be the money is. And we are building technology. We're not building the money itself. Of course, you can still pay with Zana as well, but we are aiming to build the whole stack of technology that will be helpful, help builders to create something more bigger than Zana itself.
Okay, I understand. This is like I want my, Pirate Cove market, whatever the hell. You go, yeah, we got Zano here. You can build it all you want. How you want to do it? Knock yourself out. Waiting on you now. We don't need to do it. We already built the framework for you to be able to do a token and, set it up the way you want. How difficult is that? If I go, all right, instead of me doing an Ethereum token, which everybody and their grandma does, which is one thing, when you hit South Park, are you familiar with South Park, the cartoon in America here? South Park, the most recent episode, I mean, they're really hitting on Trump, man. It's a thing. But the South Park, it was all on pump and dump crypto, how they do it. One of the little kids goes in and goes, woo, we got a crypto. We're going to, it was, skip to the end of exactly what goes on. We're going to pump it and dump it, and then we're rich, we'll do the next one. I've seen this over and over and over. I can name off a bunch of them. But the technology that you provide for doing that, how easy is that now? Where do I go to create my own token or whatever? Because, the Ethereum, kind of like you're saying, they built an ecostructure to be able to do that. How easy is it with Zano? Are you there yet?
That's even easier. I didn't want to do this, but Pavel pushed me. So you actually can deploy the token from mobile wallet. From Zana mobile application, you can deploy new token. So it's as easy as this. I think as an engineer, I think it's too easy. It shouldn't be that easy, but the guys want it to be that easy.
They wanted what? What did they want? A grandma adjust button. That's what they wanted.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
A grandma adjust button. See, you're getting a lesson. All right. So now you have this ability. I wanted to make sure that I'm glad we got the sanction thing, and you're, from St. Petersburg, and your friends, and the wars come in, and the COVID and lockdowns and all this crap that, because I'm of the opinion, I grew up in high school. I graduated in 79. I mean, it's like we got the Moscow Olympic boycott, of the Olympics and the teams. We got Afghanistan's invaded. Yes. We got OPEC and the oil boycott. We got Cold War. And then it gets to the point to where, that starts to open up and by, early 2000s, certainly before 9/11, before the economic crash in 2008, in that time period, it seemed like the world got small. You could travel almost anywhere. You could communicate with almost anybody. You could have, all of a sudden we got a Russian, professional Russian from St. Petersburg, doing Freedom Zano projects. I mean, crap like that. So I'm going, okay, the world's getting small. It's getting more philosophical. It's getting birds of a feather flocking together from everywhere on the planet that had a liberty-oriented mindset. Well, they had to stop that. Oh, hell no. We got fear and threats and pathogens and pandemics and them damn Russians and Chinese and, the military and Israel kind of doing bullshit, okay? But this technology still allows for a liberty-minded people everywhere on this planet to come together, to be able to transact. You got some 13-year-old in the Congo, selling some whatever rock widget there to some 30-year-old in the Amazon. I mean, and it drone delivered. I mean, or Starship is going to, parachute it as it comes over from suborbit. So this, I mean, I see the future as, and I just saw a shareholder presentation by Elon Musk where he called it sustainable abundance. He goes, yeah, with 1 billion robots, everybody's going to be chilling. You get universal high income. It's going to be, it's going to be. But there are those that are just sociopathic, no love, compassion, empathy. They just want to screw you because they're a parasite, because it's easier because they don't care. They'll do any and everything to gain the system. And these people, if not are some crypto guys, they sure as shit own them. I give you Blockstream, okay? So this is, I can see it coming, and I want to make sure that I align myself with a project like Zano, like Coral, like MadeSafe, like all these promises I get. I will put forth the effort of promoting the tech because of what it provides the liberty community, what it does. Imagine, non-technical buggy riding Amish people, on Zano selling their rocking chairs. I mean, woohoo, you win, So this is, you need to have the freedom component of this, which means no control, which means no permission slips, no permits, no grants of you're allowed to have a business from the crown of whatever the hell, that you can just do it. I'm looking for that. Whoever's developing that on Zano with the core technology that gives me anonymity and privacy, this is why I'm here. Aaron knows that. Roger knows that. Everybody knows that. That's why I get contacted. Because I've been screaming this forever. Because from the beginning, in 2009-10, when we first started promoting crypto as a liberty concept, as a decentralization away from the Federal Reserve and central banks like that, then all of a sudden they get all cryptoed up. Woo, yeah, we're going to program the money. We're going to make it do what we want it to do, which is what they, them, those want. The ones who won't leave us alone. That's what they've been doing all along. Your technical abilities into creating whatever is asked for has to be asked for. So here we have the market, and I'm trying to be as influential as I can to convince you Pavel, Aaron, everybody, a lot of people I don't have to convince or help convincing me, but I am trying to convince you that there is an enormous opportunity for the features that Zano is promising with speed, cheapness of transaction, decentralization of control over the blockchain, the ability to do markets and so on, and communication, which is what we're setting up with our mesh networks on satellite and all that stuff. So that's where I'm at. If that's what you're providing and where that's going, count me in. I want to help. I've been trying to help with these projects, and they just never quite take off. And it was always money. Not for lack of it. It's for them buying them out. They just come in, woo, man, you're doing, here's a shit ton of money, more than you ever were going to do, kind of ever, and it's ours now. Oh, and that freedom thing, we'll put that on the back burner. So that's why it was important to me to understand why you're motivated by this, why you're doing it, and the fact that you're in your mid-40s means you're not in your mid-20s. You know, you have a little bit of life experience ahead of you a little bit, and what feeds your soul a little bit more than others. So before we wind it up, I wanted to get your comment on that rant, on what our goal is, why we're interested, what you're building, the different projects that are coming to you for integration of tech to allow for them to do whatever. And then with that view, how long are we looking at before I get what I want?
Basically, you already have what you want. I mean, from what you described, we are not a startup that's promising something. We already delivered everything that we promised, basically, even more. What we are doing right now is actually not something that we promised to people, but it's more needed for ourselves. So in terms of functionality or features, it's ready to build. Come on, try it. But we ourselves see very engineering space for improvement. It's very engineering. We have to enforce the consensus layer and switch to a pure proof of stake, but it's mostly lie in the very engineering part. So it's not, you will not, as a builder or as someone who uses them, you will not see much change. It's only people who actually read the papers and they can see the difference, so that the price of double spend attack will increase even more. So it will be more reliable technology. I also wanted to say something which is kind of opposite of what you're probably expecting from me. You have to understand this. We're doing our best to develop as fast as we can, but it's a very risky business. And as we are innovating, as we are building new things, we kind of put everything at risk, not because we want to give you more adrenaline, but because it brings the risk. Every innovation brings the risk, especially in cryptography, especially in building the protocols. And we can make a mistake at some point, and it can be ruined at some point. You have to understand this if you're planning to invest or planning to tell your friends about this. I want to warn you to be careful with this. Understand that we are innovation project. We are building new things, and we're doing our best. And so far, we didn't make a fatal mistake for last 10 years. We've been lucky, but we also saw few times something that we didn't want to see. We saw problems that we almost left behind, like almost missed. And each of this problem can be fatal for the project. So whenever, it's not only about our project, every project that creates innovation, every project that actually builds something new, the same as, and you have a very few projects that build new things. You have Ethereum, you have Monero, which is also a very good project. One of the few are community-driven projects, and also they create a lot of innovation. You have Solana and a few other projects. And whenever you invest or looking into this, you have to be very careful. And that's what I wanted to tell and warn you because I'm feeling that you're excited and probably like us, and we appreciate it a lot. We appreciate every support that we get. But every time I want to say that, guys, please be careful. Please look into this and educate yourself about what are the chances the project can go down because of some fatal mistake made in the one line of the code. That can
Well,
easily
not
happen.
today. Zano last couple of days has shot up. I just looked at my wallet today. I go, holy crap! Damn. Okay. I mean, of course, it goes
Really?
up and down. It goes up and down, and I don't care. But I'm not really looking at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's looking good, isn't it? Yeah. It's at 15:52 now, and I think I got most of mine at 6, 7, half of that, or more. But I always get nailed on these, but I never go all in on anything. But I do select them for what the tech is, what they offer, what the promise is. That's why we have been so diligent in trying to get you on and working through schedules and getting everything. And it's probably the third time we've done a Zano project, not counting the times with Aaron. But we went to the Ron Paul birthday party in Lake Jackson, Texas in August, and we had a big banner. And you probably have seen the banner. Oh, maybe you haven't. I'll show you here. And we were really pimping this, saying, look, the revolution will be decentralized. Now, Aaron goes on about it being tokenized. Everything's going to be tokenized. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, but let's go ahead and pull this up. There's Andrey, Andy Purdy. This was a banner that we had all over at Ron Paul's birthday party, which was all the old guard activists and, Young Americans for and the youth of whatever and the, Ron Paul this and Lou Rockwell that and the Mises people of whatever this. We were pumping Zano because this is one of the vectors, and it's because of the people behind it like you. I want to meet and talk to the people because it always comes down. I don't give a crap what people say. It comes down to the people. Now, then the technology eventually will take over, I'm sorry, you were going to say something? Go ahead.
No, you said it's about people. That's from what I learned, that a lot of people who were actually supporting us, they was actually looking to in the people first, and they wanted to meet with the team first and look into this. And I agree with this. That's most important part, probably.
Yeah, that's why I do the why thing. So the people that are, one of the final things I wanted to make sure we got in the show is the people that are coming over and developing, doing their own thing, asking to work with you. Paul Play, I tell you, once he endorsed and had to come over, man, I knew that was a thing. So I had Paul on immediately to tell me all about your experience with Zano. And because he is somebody I really respect in the space. There's not that many people that have held their ground, like Roger Veer, Aaron, Eric Voorhees. I wonder what happened to Eric. He used to be right out in front. Man, they made him a target. But this has been very interesting, and I wanted to know the people coming over, the people that want to be hired, the people that are working on the project, the people that are doing it, as staff or for free or whatever. What are they like? What is their motivation for coming over to Zano? Because it's co-tech? Because they see freedom for humanity? What are the type of people that are surrounding the project?
That's an interesting question. We had a very different people during the history because Zano have been under radar for a long time. We've been working for almost 4 years and nobody cared about what we were doing. And even Roger, I actually like it about Roger that we got the first call with him, I think way before the Canon came, and he invested something, but he was looking at the project from the distance, and we didn't talk for quite some time. And only after we delivered the Arcanum, this big update that brought private consensus on top of hidden amounts and the confidential assets, only when it was brought to the main network, and it was already a couple of years after we had first time met Roger, he started to actively support us. So he was looking at the project from the distance and getting into it. It probably was studying us from the distance, which is very smart approach, I think. I mean, given that Roger is a very famous person, and I think a lot of people approach him and try to get money from him, and I think he is very experienced in this part. But we had a very different people, not like Roger, because Roger never pushed us into something. He never told us what to do. We actually even asked him, because he showed so many support. We asked him, Roger, what do you probably expect from the project? What is your thoughts? And he said that you guys just do what you do. And so he was quite like extremely supportive for us. But we had actually other type of people. There was some people who was even our investors who made some damage to the project and even lead to financial loss of me and Pavel as co-founders. And it's very different type of people. We saw a lot of different type of people who was around the project, and especially at the beginning, there was so even you can probably even make a comedy of this, how it was started the first and the second year. It was like crazy. But we managed to go through this, and on the way we also met a lot of very interesting people. We met interesting people also from Monero community. That's where I actually met a lot of libertarians, mostly based in the United States. And I mean, I know about this, I read about this before, but when you meet these people in person and talk to them, it's quite interesting. So a lot of very different type of people. Like I'm not even mentioning direct attempts of scam. As I'm not even mentioning this, but very different people. I don't even know how to say what was the most cases.
Well, the biggest influence.
I mean, if I answer this question.
Well, the biggest influence is philosophy. And I know Roger's philosophy. And it was Roger that really encouraged us to look into it. You know, and when he endorses something, you know, on a philosophical level, that's why we got and with Aaron. You know, so Aaron and Roger, close friend. I had Roger on the show last spring, I think it was, and it was the release of Hijacking Bitcoin, the book. Now, even that book doesn't really give the nuance and detail of the scumbags behind how this was an orchestrated effort. He just kind of highlights what happened, maybe who did it, you know, whatever. But it doesn't really provide enough outing of the evil intent. I'm going, man, these guys were messed up in that. They were motivated by something else. That's why I do the why thing. Well, what happened was they arrested him in Spain, had him there, and he just got, you know, I just communicated with him here recently going, well, seems like it's time to do a show. Here, we got to do another show. Tell me all about it. I might have to wait a few years, because part of the deal, the $48 million, you know, he pays extortion fee of he's not a U.S. citizen anymore for 10 years. And then they come after him for back down. What the? Because they can. Because they freaking can. Well, then the Trump administration or DOJ, where they kind of worked out a deal. But I get the impression he's not allowed to talk about or anything until after Trump's presidency is over. So another few years. So I'm just going, what the crap? Well, in the meantime, I know Roger. He's not going to be sitting on his ass. He's not. He's here to save the planet. That is his motivation. That's why he was Bitcoin Jesus. That's why he did, you know, Bitcoin Cash. That's why he's interested in Zano, because of what it serves man and woman to do. Freedom's the answer. What's the freaking question? And for Zano to provide that base code for us to build whatever we want on, You're in a long line of a whole bunch of people and efforts I've been trying to encourage with that. The problem is that there generally were young guys, very technically capable, but not life experienced, which is why we did the Pirates Without Borders book. We would give them to these kids at all sitting in the corner there with their gazillion-dollar laptop cross-legged with their buddies saving, the universe or whatever they were doing. We're going, look, this is why. Yeah, this guy coming, with his $3,000 suit, he's going to hire you. Fine, take the job or whatever. But leave freedom a back door in there somewhere. I mean, come on, okay? Do it for the right reasons, and you will be a hero and get your own monument if anybody cares. They'll be ripping it down later. But I'm just going, this is so important, and why I'm doing that. I wanted to talk to you guys so you understand what our goal is. It's not technology for the technology's sake. It's not doing it because it's cool. It's not doing it. It's how much it frees my grandchildren. How much does it add to a market, a free market, an agorist market, just us being able to exchange freely without looking over our shoulder for a permission slip from the crown? This is why, and that's what those letters in that was about. We would go the next day, and all these guys, a bunch of them, they'd just come in and they go, man, that was awesome. That was awesome. That was awesome. Gave meaning to my awesomeness. This is why, and you can go read it. The letter's on, you'll understand. The point that we have here with you, keep doing what you're doing. I know you're head down and plowing technical aspects of it, but I want you to understand the long-term ramifications of privacy, of speed, of security, of ease of use, supplying these needs of a free market of ideas, and in that free market is freedom. And we're out here ready to implement it and to be an example for it, which is exactly what Roger and I and a lot of other liberty community, the Ron Paul Revolutionaries, the libertarian anarchists, leave me alone as voluntarists, narco-cap, whatever the hell, that don't get a lot of it. You hear everybody and their grandma on TV saying how libertarian they are, and they don't even know what the hell it means. I got Peter Thiel is Christian libertarian. He's going to explain, how opposition to AI is promotion of the Antichrist or some shit. I was like, what the hell is he talking about? This is so fundamental, and I'm glad that you came on, Andre, and you finally took the time, and you gave me a couple of hours. We probably won't have to go, well, it's almost 2 hours. That we are able to have this communication so you understand, people that have been in the political activist liberty space understand the importance of exactly what you're doing and why that technology is important, so that you have a why in your head of why you're doing it and what you're doing to serve what? To serve human freedom. And I know that's why Roger's involved. So keep that in mind, would you please?
I will.
All right. Go ahead, and what you need, and you're offering, you need, professional technology whiz kid want to come help kind of, take some workload off of me. Damn. Andre's like, I got to do everything. Shit. I don't even know, who won, the last World Cup. I mean, I have no idea. I'm the head down plow. So I'm just, what is it? Your elevator speech of Zano's doing saving the planet, and we need what? We need technical ability, partners, ideas in the community, participation. What is it you need? How can we help you?
I honestly don't know how to answer to this. But we actually have everything we need at this moment, thanks to a lot of support that we have from our supporters. We have pretty much everything, and we're just excited of what's ahead. And I personally have a fear that at some point I will create some technical fail. So we're doing our best to not do this. But I think we good. Everything is great.
Very cool. One thing that I'm so optimistic, and even though we got to go through, crap, and the future of abundance is there. And the reason is because if humans can imagine it, You know, if you're presented by someone with a project and say, we need you to code this, do this, make this go work, and you go, okay, but it'd be really hard. I don't really care. Here's a bunch of money. Make it happen, you know? Well, sooner or later it happens. I mean, it's going to be, hell, we probably already got warp drive and time travel and teleporters and whatever. And every time I keep track of a lot of sciences and so on, I can see it advancing towards that. I mean, we're going to have fusion reactors here directly. So I'm just going, damn, what happens when we solve the energy problem? Oh, holy shit. Well, it's all about central control. If you're not in control, you're out of control. And the man don't like that. They want everybody in control, and they're making a big effort.
Maybe
and the whole
maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing. Honestly, what I like about the blockchain and the open source community is that you don't have to be in control. So the ideas are actually in control. And even if something happened to the team of Zana or whatever, whatever we did is open and will be picked up by whoever is interested. And I think this is the most powerful part. And I think it's great that I'm not in control, or whoever it is not in control of what's going on with the technology and open source community. I think it's a great part. I mean, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, you have a single point of failure, you got a single point of failure, you know. But the I understand.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I wanted to make sure, I'm trying to get to it here. You know, one thing I wanted to make sure you understood is our philosophy and the whys from the beginning was this. From the ashes of Lady Liberty's torch, Freedom's Phoenix, Freedom's rebirth. That's what Freedom's Phoenix is about. I knew that about now, that for my grandchildren, they were going to live through it, but protected by, you know, their parents and grandparents and family. They're not going to suffer. They'll have food in their belly and a roof over their head, pretty much, and one reason why we're building out here in the desert. But there was going to be ashes. There is going to be, you know, consternation. There's going to be war. There's going to be economic upheaval. There's going to be. But then, from that, the phoenix will rise. That is where you come in. So I wanted to make sure that you guys understood we are so expecting, counting on people like you and projects like Zano that is going to have the next enlightenment and evolution of humanity on this planet as we go forth into abundance of energy, abundance of freedom of thought, of exploration, of humanity is amazing. AI, we'll see what happens there and integration of. I'm going to be doing a deep dive on Grok here in the next few days. I've been playing with that, and I've been really blown away. Now, chat and open AI and all those guys, they suck, man. They got so much bias in that thing, I can't even, you know, it's a waste of time. But a truth engine, you know, that's freaking a goal, you know, yay. So let's play with that. But thank you for being there, coming on the show, explaining this to us. I have a better understanding. I mean, the simple thing for proof of stake is that you got proof of stake, and however many units you have, that's your mining and your guessing and encrypting. You're not burning up a lot of electrons, but you're making that private. You know, so that just because you got a shit ton of Zano and your proof of stake and confirming transactions and so on, that they don't know who has all the money, you know, kind of thing. And I'm sure Roger, if he's interested in Zano, has probably got a chunk. But this is very enlightening for us. And hopefully, I think it may take a while, months, year or so. I'll ask you to come back on. And with this conversation and others that you're going to have, and people, as you get attention, you may not need anything now, but you may later. And the biggest thing is, I think you're going to have a much wider philosophical understanding of the importance of what you're doing. That is one thing I wanted to instill, that there are so many entities, projects, efforts, freedom-oriented activists, and stuff out here that has been begging for the promise of what Zano is doing. I mean, in detail. for years, decades.
Yeah,
I remember.
I hope for this.
Well, no, I remember the what was it, From Crossbows to Cryptography in like 1988. It was a letter that really influenced a lot of us in the crypto. And then they had e-gold at the 2000, and then it went, and finally we got crypto. But we understood back in the late 80s that the reason it was called From Crossbows to Cryptography is the article was about why the kings outlawed crossbows, because it gave the peasants the ability to defend against a knight, and they got a bolt through their armor, and they went back to plowing. They go, oh, we can't give that much power to peasants, man. That for the same reason they were going to be against cryptography. Then what was his name?
Absolutely, it's been like this for the whole history of cryptography.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then when they came out with
cases against cryptographer, and actually there was even story about Bernstein, who was suited for doing cryptography, and we use his work in the very core of crypto technology. Every coin we actually used his work, his elliptic curve that he created, but he was suited by American government for doing the cryptography research.
Yeah, PGP, Phil Zimmerman or whatever.
No, it's not a guy, but I mean, that's been happening constantly for
a bunch of them,
lot of cryptography. Yeah, and it's always been like in a very tension between the research, the science, and the government, because it's they needed this to have academics understand the cryptography and this, but they also afraid of the product of this research, because it can give the things that people will have a security that the government cannot break. So it's been like this for ages.
And now they're trying to capture it. Now they're trying to control it. Now they're trying to make it serve the devil.
They've been always trying to capture it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay in touch with us. Andrey, thank you for coming on and spending this much time with me. It was really important for me to have you introduced to the audience, to have this show available so they get to understand your motivations and the role that you play. But it was mainly also for me to express myself to you as a technical person on this project, to understand the importance of what you're doing and how it's going to be utilized and why by us activists and people involved in the liberty community out here. It was very, it's much wider and more diverse than you realize. And waiting on you now, okay? Well, you're not waiting, we're doing. But, it's you just keep doing it. This is going to have a lot bigger impact than I think even you realize, and probably more than what I realize. But the battle is on. This is not, this is it. This is the future of humanity. All the other wars and all the kinetic bomb dropping and all the politicians, diddling little boys and the FBI out and whatever, and the CIA going whatever, doesn't freaking matter in comparison with the capability of the people to communicate and exchange with each other. That is the planet. And you supplying this mechanism for us to be able to build on and do that is going to make all that other crap pale in significance. It doesn't matter, and I don't freaking care. This is where the rubber meets the road. It is interface between individuals in commerce. That is where the peace is. Andrey Sabelnikov. I almost say it right. Thanks for coming on. It was a pleasure to meet you.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you very much for inviting me, and thank you very much for supporting our project and taking interest into the project. And once again, whoever is interested in the project, please do your research, read the papers, understand the risks that we are doing innovations, that we are not copying any other projects. We've been building this from the ground, and we are doing our best to not fail, but it's a very risky job. And be careful with any investment in crypto, including Zano itself. And once again, I'm really appreciate the stories that you told me, and I really appreciate that you explaining me the vision of libertarians or the people who like these ideas and thinks it's important. I really appreciate it. It means a lot for us to understand it, to understand these people, because we came from a very different cultural part of the world, and we live through the different lives compared to the people who live in the United States or other parts. So it's very interesting to have this conversation and communication, and looking forward for another meeting in a year or 2 years. Sure, it's gonna be great.
Okay, I'm going to send you something so you can understand the very fundamental, my God, libertarian. That's something, being from Russia, you wouldn't have this complete understanding. Just a perspective. It's mainly you own yourself.
Cool.
I mean, that's what it comes down to. But I'm going to send this to you right now. Copy. I'm going to put it in the chat over here because they have chats, right? Okay. And it's only, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, if you...
we have a chat in Telegram. Yeah, okay, I see it.
Okay, just click on that, and this is what it looks like. Over here, it's philosophy of liberty. It's just, it's all about self-ownership. Now, we translated it. It's in like 140 languages, and we had it translated into Arabic and dumped it on Tahrir Square in Egypt, and it went stupid. And I'm telling you, you own your life. So if you wanted to understand libertarian philosophy, and this was created, back in early 2000s. It has a long pedigree.
18 years ago. Wow, I didn't know that YouTube existed long.
Oh, it was even before that. But I mean, it was an economist in Hawaii did 3-minute things on a friend of his that owned radio stations in Hawaii. And it was and then one of the guys that used to help when I first started doing radio on Terran Radio out of Scottsdale here in Arizona, it was he and a couple of guys that helped because libertarians on the radio. Holy shit, how did that happen? So they would do the MP3 editing of it and put it up. MP3, what's that? So we've been doing this for decades. But what happened? The guy that was helping me was the guy that created this video from those little 3-minute things on Hawaiian radio. And it became and his name was Ken Schooland, was the professor that was doing those little things. So you could see little bitty projects, all the way in Hawaii on some little radio station, all of a sudden became an international society for individual liberty kind of thing. And we have different projects all over Europe that, people come to Arizona, called the Arizona Project. If I got kids from Nepal and Argentina and Georgia and Russia and Ukraine and, Ecuador and whatever coming to Arizona, and the first thing they want is to go shooting. They always want to go shooting. But, the thing is that this was the foundational base of a lot of that understanding. You watch this, and in a few minutes, it's just, you're going to have to read English, or I'm sure you'll find it in Russian. Just put Russian version and it'll come up. Let's do that. I just want to see,
I can understand. I hope I can understand English.
Philosophy of Liberty, Russian. I spell it right. Philosophy of Liberty in Russian. Is that Russian? Nah, I bet you it's in Russian somewhere. You can go to their website and, find it. So this has been, I think that you would probably benefit from that the most, to have an understanding of libertarian philosophy, because it's American philosophy is what it originally is. It's just the purpose of government. That's why this show is called Declare Your Independence. Declaration of Independence had a big impact on me. The purpose of government is the defense of individual rights. When it doesn't do that, it's time to alter or abolish it. It's your right. It's your duty. That's what the Declaration says. Most of it is just the reasons why, the king was being a dick and we're separating. So we're going to tell the world why we're doing it. But the philosophy behind it was this, that you owned yourself. You're not a property of a king. So that's what you guys are doing, is allowing us to take self-ownership of our life, liberty, and property. That our life, to keep breathing in and out, we need our liberty of our hands to fashion raw materials and build stuff and whatever, shelter and clothing and food and whatever to keep breathing in and out. We need our liberty, and the product of that liberty is our property. So life, liberty, property is just three ways of saying the same thing. It's past, present, future. That is so basic, fundamental, but simple, that they, them, those don't want us to know that. And when you have projects like Zano that help facilitate that and bypass the crown, they don't like it. They really don't like it. Just saying. Glad you're in the UAE. I mean, Dubai is a little bit more insulative of whatever. How do you like it? Before you go, how do you like Dubai?
If you look into the government as a service, it's the best organized country we ever lived in or traveled. They very smart here in terms of how to make things right for the people, for everyone who is working here, who is staying here, who is making business here. The weather is hard. Not everybody can handle the heat, and it's the hardest part. So basically, it's a desert, like on your picture that you're showing. This your place that you're building. It's look exactly like Dubai. Sand is everywhere.
Yeah, no, I'm in Phoenix, man. I know how it is.
We like it here. Yeah, as a country, we like it a lot. We've been experiencing a lot of kind of harassment by passport. They've been shut down in our bank accounts in Europe, everywhere. And the part we like here is we are not feel harassed. Everybody is equal. We just follow the rules. But it's from other perspective, it's not a democracy. It's a kingdom. I think there's a royal people here, and you have to follow the rules. Not much of a freedom here officially, but we feel here way more free than honestly in Europe or in some other countries. So we like it. So far, it's been a great place to live here.
This is, I'm sure this will look familiar. This is a drone footage of our area. This is what it looks like.
Yeah.
That's right above my property.
Looks
I'm out in the middle of, I don't have any neighbors. So you can kind of see what I'm talking about.
How much is the temperature at summer?
120 degrees.
What is the temperature at summer?
120.
How much is in Celsius? Hold on.
50.
I don't know. It's Fahrenheit. Really? It's 50? Oh man, so you live pretty much in the same as we are.
Yeah,
I'm
in
Dubai style.
I'm in the Sonoran Desert. I get it. I live in the love bus as we're building our home. We have. Damn man, it's hot. I know hot. I'm out there 4 months just building the roads to even get my bus out here. Hot, 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 hot. I get it, hot. You don't have to explain it to me, man. And anybody of my friends, a lot of crypto guys, they come out here, they're like, damn, Ernie, it's hot. Yeah, it's hot. But this time it's really nice. Like today, it's, it's for weeks, months, it's going to be, 80 to 85 during the day and, 55 at night, which is, less, it's nice. But it's only like 3 months out of the year that it really sucks. Yeah. Now the winters in Dubai, is it nice out? Is it nice in the winter?
What you said?
Is the weather nice in the winter?
Yes, it's actually high season in the winter here. A lot of people are actually visiting Dubai at the winter, December, January, February is the high season. In the summer, nobody comes here. It's a dead season. Even people who reside here, they normally leave for July and August sometimes September for a couple of months away from Dubai to travel if they can afford it. So yeah, that's winter is the best part to visit.
Yeah, no, I'm hip, brother. No, I understand. I get it. You know, I'm 50. I get it. 50. You know, our pool, it's mid-November, and we have a pool out here, and it's still 78-degree water. Now, we have a top over it. We're like, damn, we can go swimming again. Yes, I almost did yesterday. I'm like, damn. You know, so people, have to understand it, even when it's hot, but the rest of the year, it's awesome. Thanks for coming on. We could go for a long time, and we hit 2 hours and 9 minutes. Woohoo! We broke the 2 hour. That's what I wanted to do. All right. This has been very enlightening, and hopefully, Andrey, I'm hoping that it was encouraging to you, and you had a lot better understanding where we're coming from. Please watch that Philosophy of Liberty thing, and you'll get an understanding of not just libertarianism, but the real heart and soul and core of American heritage and philosophy. What you see on CNN International and all this other bullshit doesn't matter. That's why there is an alternative media. That's why there is the Ron Paul Revolutions. That's why there is a whole nother aspect of what we're doing that is supported by so many different people. That's where support for crypto came from. That's where, and why. You watch that, and you'll get a base understanding of what makes Americans Americans. And this, comes from, like free speech, defense with a gun, no warrantless searches, leave me aloneism, property rights. All that comes from us understanding how important it is, which is also why we understand how important you are and this Zano project. So please take a look at that, and you'll get a lot better understanding. Thanks, Andrey. This has been really good, and I won't bother you, too soon, but when we do, we try to get you on. It'll be for a purpose. And if you have anything that you want to share with us, you let us know, because we're not really waiting on you. We're setting this up now. We're doing, that's what this whole project is about. And there's a lot of, not a lot where we are. We got away from, the crowds, but the city is moving out here fast. I had to get out on the edge of it. I wanted to get as far away from the man as I could and still have access to my grandkids' soccer games. But this is what we're doing, and we're creating a community. I use my tractor and backhoe to go and help people dig their, ditches and grade their road and do their, septic systems and all that. And in exchange, they get a Zano wallet. That's just how it works, okay? So this is what we're building the community, because we're actually doing it. Thank you for your help, and thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
All right. Peace, brother.